week 11 of the fantasy football season. And here's a few running backs I look to drop this week. The first guy, Clyde Edwards-Helaire of the Kansas City Chiefs. I mentioned Edwards-Helaire as a drop last week, but right now he's really gotten to the point where you can't use him in fantasy. Isaiah Pacheco played all the running downs for the most part. He only played about 6% of the snaps as Edwards-Helaire, and he's just got nothing going over the last few weeks. I said this weeks ago in other videos, if you've been following the channel, he was a touchdown-dependent running back as Edwards-Helaire. And right now, he's not even getting the touches at all. So the last few weeks here for CEH, Week 9 versus Tennessee, 4 carries, 5 yards, a catch, 14 yards. And then Week 10 versus Jacksonville in that game, where it was a good matchup on paper, 2 targets without even a carry. So right now, Pacheco and McKinnon are the 2 backs over there in Kansas City that it looks like are going to be the guys. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire, high hopes for him coming out of college. They drafted him early in the NFL draft a few seasons ago, but he just hasn't panned out, and right now he's buried on the depth chart, and a running back that easily should be dropped this week, owned in 89% of fantasy league. The next guy's Nyheim Hines of the Buffalo Bills. So right here, it was a little surprising that the Bills went out there and traded for Nyheim Hines. Pretty much Singletary can do what he does, catch the ball out of the backfield, running between the tackles, and also Singletary is a goal line type of back as well. So Nyheim Hines now on this roster for 2 weeks with this Buffalo Bill team, and we haven't seen much out of him. And James Cook, the rookie, he's a better option anyway, I believe, than a Nyheim Hines. So Hines right now, last 2 weeks, we haven't seen him do anything with his new team. Week 9 versus Jets, target didn't do anything, and then Week 10 versus the Vikings, 1 catch for 9 yards on a target. So right now, Singletary's the man over there, obviously in Buffalo, and the rookie James Cook, still number 2 running back on the depth chart on usage and obviously snaps played. So right here, Nyheim Hines, I think they got him obviously as a 3rd string running back, obviously trading Zach Moss in that deal, swapping running backs and draft picks. So right here, he hasn't seen the field. I know he could help this team obviously line up as a slot receiver or whatever when they need him at times. But right now, Singletary and Cook ahead of him on the depth chart, and he's owned in way too many fantasy leagues as Nyheim Hines in 68% of fantasy leagues. So I would drop him this week. In the 3rd and final running back I would drop is Chase Edmonds of the Denver Broncos. So another guy traded at the NFL trade deadline was Edmonds, and he was the 3rd string running back behind Latavius Murray and Melvin Gordon. So the last few games here for Edmonds, Week 8 with Miami, 4 carries, 14 yards. And then Week 10 here, Tennessee, 2 carries, 9 yards with a catch. So right now, he barely saw the field. I know Week 11, he's got a decent matchup versus the Raiders that give up the 4th most fantasy points to running backs on the season. But right here, this Bronco team got Edmonds as a throw-in and some salary in that deal with the Miami Dolphins. And he's a guy right now that's 3rd string. Yeah, later on in the season, I could see him break in maybe more. But right now, with better options on the waiver wire, with bye weeks and injuries at other positions, there's really no reason to hold on to Edmonds, and he's still owned surprisingly in 44% of fantasy leagues. That's a few running backs I look to drop here for Week 11 of the fantasy football season.